This programme is brought to you by Vinny.co.uk.
A very good evening. Welcome to the Champions League pool here on Free Sports. It's week number 6 of the competition. Stephen Jameson and Simon Webb with you still from the Players' Lounge here in Newcastle under Lyme, where we are ready to go with 4 new players looking to make their way into the quarterfinals of the Champions League and edge ever closer to that £10,000 prize. Simon, a great lineup tonight.
Yeah, another fantastic lineup. We've seen some great weeks so far, but this is another fantastic lineup. There's four very good players, but there's 3 that probably stand out. Tony, he's a qualifier. He comes in. He's probably a little bit more under the radar, but it's very tough to call between the other 3 players, and it's going to be a fascinating night to see how those players or how these matches unfold.
Yeah, it really should be a good one. There you see the lineup, all 4 of them. Tony Blount, the rank outsider, as you can see, out at 20-1. He's a players qualifier, bit of an unknown, but as this format has proven before and will doubtless prove again, you can never count anyone out. Craig Lakin and Carl Sutton and David McNamara, therefore, are more tipped. Carl is the bookie's favourite, but as Simon said, difficult to call between those 3 in particular.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that Tony should be the outsider, but he is a qualifier and he's earned his right to be here. Between the other 3, I think it's probably fair to say Carl's the favourite with his CV. He's been into World Championship finals, been a runner-up there. He's won more titles. But with David McNamara, an under-23 world champion, he's a guy that's edging ever closer to winning some big titles. And with Craig Lakin, you've got a guy that's this format is absolutely suited to. He's won some big titles in his own right, but when you're drawing up this format, you're thinking this is a format that is going to suit Craig Lakin. Hasn't quite happened for him so far in shootout events, but at some point he's going to break through, I'm sure. He's just too talented not to.
Yeah, you can see there the balls are racked, and this is our first matchup of the night. Tony Blount up against Craig Lakin. Craig, the odds-on favourite, as you might expect from the odds at the start of the night. But as we say, anything can happen in shootout pool. And it's worth pointing out, for those of you who aren't too familiar with the shootout pool, 20 seconds a shot, 20-minute match clock, loads of stuff can happen in this format, and it's what makes it so exciting to watch. It's not like anything you've seen before if you haven't seen shootout pool, and a format like this is so volatile, but quite often the cream rises to the top side.
It does. We've seen that happen in the group so far, but you know, when you see the odds there for these matches, you know, Tony is more than capable of causing an upset here in this opening match and getting off to a good start. It's that format allows that to happen. Okay, it's only 20 minutes, but it's 20 seconds a shot. It's whoever can get the opportunities early on and who can take them.
Yeah, the format tonight will work like this. We've got 4 players. They'll all play each other in a round-robin format. At the end of the night, we will therefore have a group table. Whoever tops the group will head through into the quarterfinals to join quite the established list of top players who have already made it through. If we're tied, well, that's when things get really interesting. No frame difference, no points difference, anything like that. If we're tied on points, we go through a decider, and that will cause havoc, Simon.
Yeah, the 6 red shootout, we're yet to see it, but we've been going on about it every single week. I think we will see it at some point, if not this stage, in the next stage as well. So it will just be who can clear the 6 reds the quickest will determine who goes through. And that will be very exciting for us. It will be very awkward and terrifying for the players, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Me and Simon have had several goes at it ourselves out there on the table, and let me tell you, it is harder than it looks once you get that clock right up against you. We've seen 5 fantastic weeks so far of shootout pool. Here's to week 6. We are ready to go. Tony Blount versus Craig Lakin, our first matchup of the night. It's Tony who is going to break first and get us underway. And I thought he was going to get saved from going straight in off, but get kicked into the other corner. And in doing so, he hands over a handy-looking table here. Because if you look at the split that he's got, it's fantastic. Just got the wrong, just about the wrong contact on the pack, which sent the cue ball up towards that corner pocket.
Yeah, he hit that break absolutely brilliantly, but he's just got the cue ball going towards the corner, and okay, he was lucky to keep it out of the left-hand side, but in it flew to the right-hand side, and he has gifted Craig Lakin a perfect opening opportunity.
Yeah, and you mentioned at the top of the show, Simon, that Chris is the type of player who this format is suited to down to the grounds. Well, it doesn't matter how suited you are to the format. If you're in a position like that, he's fuming with himself. It's a lax error, and he can't quite recover with a clever snooker. And Tony Blount has a great chance here to take the opening frame.
Yeah, just needed to be careful in a couple of places there. The yellows were going to be in the way for positional play, but I didn't expect it. I thought Craig would work himself through that finish and get off to the perfect start.
It's worth pointing out as well that it's something we've noticed a lot over the course of the last month or so in particular. It's just how it just takes these players a little while to get used to this table. It's very, very quick, very responsive. It does just catch you out, and it caught Craig out there, just an inch or two more on the ball, and he was behind the yellow and had a visit.
Every player is given 20 minutes practice on this table. They each get their own practice table for obvious reasons, with social distancing and all the other protocols in place, but on this match table themselves, they only get 20 minutes to practice, which I think is really needed, because as you say, this table is very reactive and it does take a little bit of getting used to. It does play different to the practice tables.
Plays beautifully, mind, I should say that as well. It's something that Tony Blount here is discovering, because this is a great chance to clear, and it's why I mentioned at the top of the show he might only be a county level player. He might be the rank outsider against players who have accomplished things at high levels around the country and around the world. But in this format in particular, anything can happen.
The thing I'd say with Tony, as he's on the simple 8 ball for this opening frame, is the fact that he's earned the right to be here, and he's very proud to be here, and he's going to put up a really good fight.
Yeah, 1-0 Tony Blount.
Frame.
In the end, not punished for going in off on his own break. That's the perfect start. He's from this area, from Crewe originally. Cheshire County player, as we mentioned, and he has won events in this building as part of an in-house event, the Europa League, as they called it at the time. And anytime you win a competition with a lot of players entering, you've got something about you.
Yeah, and it's quite a clever competition as well. It's a competition where, depending on your level, you'll get put into different categories and different competitions, and he's won his category, which was the Europa League, and any tournament you can win is a great achievement, and you should be proud of.
Yeah, I think we were speaking to the organiser of that competition earlier, and I think the winner of the Champions League in that format was Neil Rayburn, so not terrible company to be in.
Yeah, and that's so he's sitting just in the level below, so that just shows you
Second frame.
what he
Craig
can do.
To break.
Can Craig respond to that mistake in the opening frame? Didn't catch the opening break as cleanly as he would have wanted to, that's for sure. Has made a ball though.
Yeah, needed to as well.
Red's in play.
Wouldn't have been far off a foul break there. Craig Lakin. 4-point rule in operation, we've seen it. In particular over the last few weeks, a few foul breaks. Essentially, the rule, you have to have 4 balls beyond the centre line or in pockets, or in pockets I should say. If you can achieve that, it's a legal break.
This is a much trickier opportunity than the opening opportunity he had.
I was just thinking that, he's making it look very, very simple.
It's been a beautiful position all the way through this, and he's worked out the pattern lovely as well, so he can just be dropping these next couple of shots in.
He flies around the table, doesn't he, Craig Lakin? This format, as he mentioned at the top of the show, absolutely tailor-made. Someone who's used to playing quick. 20-second shot clock really isn't a lot, and Craig Lakin will barely hit 10.
If that's his natural pace, it's not the greatest little nudge. He would have preferred to slide by. In fact, the white's gone just far enough up the table to make this 8-ball relatively comfortable, although it is awkward queuing.
And Craig Lakin ties things up. Easy as that.
Frame.
No messing. Well, 15.5 minutes on the watch. That was, I'm going to say, one of the quicker frames we've seen probably in the whole competition, actually, from Craig Lakin. They call him money-making Craig Lakin from Derby. 30-year-old is a big Manchester United fan. Had a great weekend to that effect. And he's got some decent titles to his name as well. Players Amateur Champion.
Yeah, no, fantastic record, and I think he is one of the more talented players around, and I think a lot of people have been kind of waiting for him to really break through and sort of get onto that, you know, next level. And okay, he's won some big titles. What we've seen from him so far in the shootout is that he hasn't quite managed to break through. I think the speed he plays at, the quality he has, we've expected a little bit more from him. So far in the shootouts, he's only had one semi-final to show for his efforts, and he's played in just about all of them. So he'd have wanted to have done better than that, but here he is again and trying his best to try and break through.
Yeah, and a decent start from Craig there. Would have been
Third frame.
almost a little bit understandable if that first break had rattled him a little bit, but absolutely no signs of that, was there? And we saw in Tony's first break that he split them beautifully, and he has again. And you can see there the little nudge at the table as to say, well, what more can I do? It's lovely contact on this, and the movement he gets on the pack. It's one of those where you've got so many balls at the top end of the table. You'll watch the reaction here. What more can I do?
Yeah, well, I mean, he's hit this brilliantly as well. Look at the number of balls that they say gone to the top, as that's a poor miss from Craig. But he just noticed the fact that that wasn't full power from Tony. He timed that one, and he timed it brilliantly. Really got through the balls and deserved to make one, but he didn't. Although he still gets the opportunity.
Yellow ball's in play.
And these yellows are okay. The one at the top of the table, that's going to be the trickiest one to land on. There's an argument to say taking it now, although position onto the next ball is going to be tough from it. But that is the one ball that's going to cause him a problem if he doesn't take it now.
Going straight after it. Oh, he's unlucky. Didn't quite get the drop. Don't think he'd have been on his next ball either. So it might not be a terrible miss, this, especially if that didn't go, but it did sneak past the red.
Just overcut it, and that was as close as you could get without dropping, without making it. A question mark here for Craig is, does the red go to the bottom left? I think it does, and once that's out of the way, the 8-ball will then go to the opposite corner.
Be a little bit frustrated with this because landing tight on the cushion, this white is going to be a bit tougher to control, but he's weighted that, I think, pretty well. Yeah, just about perfect, actually, just to drop this red in.
The only problem with playing the shot the way he just has is that may have moved the 8-ball into a position where it doesn't go to one of the bottom corner pockets, which may make things difficult unless he can travel down the table.
Yeah, you can see from that angle, not sure it goes into the bottom left as we look at it here. Certainly looked very tight.
Yeah, he's had to play for it in the centre pocket, and to be fair, he's played that absolutely fantastically well. Perfect position.
Yeah, tap of the knee from Tony Blount, he appreciated that.
Frame.
2-1 Craig Lakin. Oh, we saw some measured play last week, some real battles, and you've got to say, the way that this match is shaping up so far, Simon, it might not stick around too long, the pace that Craig Lakin in particular is playing at.
Yeah, and he's not playing like this because there's a 20-second shot clock. He plays at this pace normally. He always, to me, it looks like he's rushing around the table. He really does see the game very quickly. He plays at a very quick pace naturally. So the 20 seconds is less of a problem for him, only when it's a tricky shot. But he could be 3-0 up here, but he made a big mistake in the first frame, which is keeping Tony in it. And if Tony can get an opportunity in this next frame, it's all to play for.
Yeah, it certainly is. You can never count him out. And so far, considering he's not used to playing at this sort of level against this sort of talent, especially on this sort of stage, most importantly. But pretty impressed actually with how quickly Tony Blount settled in. He looks at home.
2 frames
yeah,
to 1.
definitely. The only real mistake he's made was that missed pot to the top left-hand corner. Okay, a couple of breaking errors, if we can call it that, a bit harsh too. And that was a tough pot that he took on, but I like the fact that he took it on because it was the ball that was going to win in the frame if he made it.
This is a much better break from Craig Lakin. His last one he didn't strike too well. That one he struck pretty handily.
Yellow's in play.
Immediately gets that yellow off the rail to give himself a good chance of this frame. The 8-ball is an issue for him. Don't think that will pass. Well, the cue ball will pass next to red there, so I think he will have to move it at some point. Probably has the angle to do so now if he wishes. Yeah, lovely shot. Played it with a lot of control as well. Always knew he had that yellow into the centre.
Yeah, it's nice to see a player playing it that way rather than just flying into a problem ball. Really considering he only had to move it an inch or two.
Well, he took the trickier cut on to the bottom left.
I think part of the reason he's taken this shot on is because he was hoping that the red would go up and develop his yellow at the top of the table, which was going to become an awkward ball, which it did. It didn't quite develop it, but he missed the pot.
Oh, and that didn't miss by much. When he played at that sort of pace, just can't afford to miss by even a millimetre. It will draw out. That's a lovely little touch shot from Craig there. This is the miss from Tony.
Trying to do a lot with that shot, trying to develop a red at the same time.
The player's just getting the jitters here. Unexpected misses.
That was a tricky one for Craig Lakin. No, he opened up the yellow at the top of the table, but he didn't land on it. Could have potentially played a double, but he took that harder pot to the bottom corner, knowing if he makes it, then it's 3 drop-ins for the frame.
That's definitely an unexpected miss from Tony, no doubt about that. First shot you can argue he's trying to do a lot with the ball. That one was a dollar, and that will frustrate him. And Craig is not in the business of charity tonight. He will punish mistakes. That's what we've said throughout this competition with the players who would consider themselves underdogs. The thing is, when you play these top players, when you play these great players, the one thing they usually have in common is they punish mistakes. You've almost got to play perfectly, which they can, but when they don't, this happens. Yeah, that's it. You know, Craig's made a couple of mistakes in that frame, and Tony's just responded by giving the table back over to him. And the difference between 3-1 and 2-2 is huge. And Tony may have missed an opportunity in that frame to perhaps get back on board. He did manage to punish that mistake in the opening frame really nicely, but not in this last frame. And now he's up against it. 3 missed pots each. Most of those in this frame. I think it was 2 each in that last frame. Yeah, it certainly was. It's amazing how catching missing pots can be in scenarios like that. It's almost as if it is contagious. Touching on that word, it's probably worth pointing out that in the current
frame number
situation
5,
here in the UK,
Blount to break, trailing 3 frames to 1.
Under
time running.
Fairly strict COVID protocols. Every player, referee and short staff member of staff in here tonight is tested at the door upon entry. The relevant local authorities are in charge as well. Delighted to be able to continue this event through lockdown. Has been something I know I've personally enjoyed, and I know a lot of you at home have as well. Just pleased to have some semblance of normality, of live sport. You love it, and it's given us great entertainment these Monday nights. It's only going to get better as well. Craig Melling in action, Chris Melling I should say, in action next week. Can't wait for that. Mick Hill's still to come. Then it's quarter-final time. Yeah, the last couple of weeks really are going to be pretty special. We think we've got a new contender for Group of Death as well, as we see that miss from Tony that final week. And we'll be
bringing you the names and the graphic a little bit later on, but it really is a very tough week. Headlined by, of course, the 6 times world champion. Opportunity here for Craig to wrap up this opening match.
Yeah, the match clock rather is ticking down with 8.5 minutes left, but if we beat that, it's not necessarily a race to 0 seconds. It is a race to 4, whichever one comes first. And with Craig Lakin around, it generally doesn't tend to go the distance one way or the other.
Had a quick chat with him when he arrived earlier, and he said he hasn't really been able to play much at all. 1 or 2 sessions in preparation for this, but that's about it for over a year. So the fact that he's come in here, okay, he's missed a couple, but you know, he's only going to improve, I think, on this performance. He's not the worst start for him.
Hammered that in with a fair bit of confidence as well from Craig Lakin. That was beautifully done from money-making Craig Lakin, superstar. And the man from Derby who leads the way in the early going here in the Champions League pool group number 6. He'll take 2 points for the win and advance on into first place. Next up, we do have our 3rd and 4th players of the night going head-to-head. When we come back, it's Carl Sutton against David McNamara.
This programme is brought to you by Vinny.co.uk.